You know what? Let's just turn the stream on. Why not? What's the worst that could happen? Well, the worst that could happen is we could have no audio, no video, everything could collapse and explode, etc, etc. So let me, as a professional streamer, I'll disable desktop audio and then I'll check the preview. Okay, the audio levels sound indeed good, and it seems like we do have audio, so let's not forget to re-enable desktop audio, and we can get going, basically. Alright, here we go. Back at it again. I don't remember... I guess we don't have this guy yet. Not like I remember which button you used to actually put that in. There's a prompt in the UI, which I have hidden, because it just... doesn't the game just look nice when it is not? Also, do I have 60 FPS enabled? Okay, I think I do. That would have been a disaster. Absolutely unacceptable idea to have a gaming stream in 30 FPS. Just changed my laptop fans today. It's been an experience. They've started dying, like one of the... oh, whoops. One of the fans started dying ages ago. Well, and by ages ago I mean like a week or two. I've been stuck in a black hole where I'm not really allowed to comprehend time properly. So if you... please excuse my achronicity, or whatever you'd call it. Okay, you open this up, because I want the points. Thank you. I don't remember if I played this game on this keyboard yet, because I've bought a mechanical keyboard in the meantime, and it legitimately might have been in the meantime. I don't remember how long ago the last time I played this game was. Must have been like, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I've been, as I've established, I've been stuck in a time vortex, and ever since being stuck in the time vortex, it's not been the same. Yeah, I've been working on a very big project. Nothing to do with YouTube channel, it's just normal work stuff, but we've been working on that project since December 2024. We are finally nearing a completion on it. And I suppose maybe it's because like my body's registering that we are actually nearing the end. It's kind of incredible to think about. So much stuff that has been done, and like so much effort put into all of that. It's kind of ridiculous, to be honest. I don't know if this is going to come across as like overly self-glazing or whatever, but I'd say the experience is it's something. How do I even phrase it? It's I don't feel like the same guy anymore, to be honest, kind of. Nothing like, I don't think from the outside there's much of a difference, although I do not know. Because there's also been stuff happening IRL and in my life that has been kind of major, I guess you could say. So I felt like just... I've been really tired for a long while. I've just not had the energy to really think about things. I've put basically everything I've been doing on the side on hold. Maybe aside from making these like little YouTube videos about things that I thought were interesting to think about. So I'm kind of surprised at the at myself being like having the energy to stream today. It's kind of come out of nowhere because I've gotten so used to just being extremely tired. in the evenings especially, in terms of like capability to do things. And all of a sudden, this evening, I just feel like, oh, hold on, I'm feeling kind of good, even. I'm shocked. I have like a capacity to think about things, and I've been feeling like I've been absorbing a lot of information. That's what I've basically. I felt like I've been just consuming things of various sorts of information, etc. And I think I am a little bit behind on sorting through all of it, which, like, well, it's not really all that surprising considering all of that takes brain power, which I've been severely lacking, but nonetheless, we are here. So, in the title, there is the question of definition or whatever. Underdefined. The underdefined. It's because I've been thinking about things, and I know this is not exactly new for my general, you know, autismic tendencies to overly overthink things. I think it's fair to describe it that way, but in particular I've made the video on objectivity versus subjectivity, and the conclusion there is basically that I think the easiest way to summarize the conclusion of that video, or like the general point I'm making, is that these kinds of discussions barely actually matter, in that like X versus Y, or like the big debate, which is better, which is more important, is this subjective or objective, all of that. There's a fundamental question to be asked before you actually get on the case of defining those words and what does that mean and which one is better, etc. And the question is, what are you actually doing? What's the point? Because when I was thinking about, when I was doing that video, like thinking about it, laying it out, what do I want to say, how do I want to say it, in what order, what of it is like crucially important, what of it is basically just tangent, how to not repeat myself. The question to me that's become very, very obvious is, well, why are you asking, right? Why are you asking, is this objectively whatever, or is that like objectivity or subjectivity better? What's the point? What are you trying to achieve? Because words, if you can believe it, are important when they have meaning. I know, shocking idea. But the idea is that words are tools. You use words to describe things. It's like, what does it... You know, you could phrase this question as, what does it mean to have meaning? What does meaning mean? And then the definition that I think is the most apt for that is that meaning is... A word has meaning when it accurately describes or like corresponds to reality. That's what I describe it as. If the word you are using accurately corresponds to reality, you have a meaningful word, right? You have a meaningful description when the description is accurate to reality, and then you find out if it is accurate to reality by basically relying on it to do things. It's like the scientific method, effectively, or it is the scientific method. Oh, wrong button. You pose a hypothesis, and then when you do, when you do that, you can test it out. It's like, oh, you know, when I do X, Y is going to happen. And then you, well, you do X, and you find out if Y happens. And if Y does happen, then it's not 100% guarantee, although you can probably get close depending on what the hypothesis is, but you might have actually proven that, yeah, this is indeed true. And you want to be careful about that, because it's easy to basically mess things up and assume that you've proven something that you haven't proven. You've just misunderstood what you are doing or how it like corresponds to the description. But it's not like that's impossible to do or to figure out, because you... Oh, I'm gonna die if I'm not careful. Because you can actually improve all of that by creating robust, I don't know, I don't use that word often, robust definitions and using precise wording, and generally being like general care. One is care, so that you use the words you actually mean to, and you use them precisely, and you don't use words that you don't mean, and you don't use words that are useless, and you don't spam synonyms too hard in order to not lose the actual meaning. And then you also make sure that the definition you are using, or the definitions plural you are using, all interlock together into a greater whole that is coherent and functions. So the idea is that it's easy to make a sentence when you produce a thought, an opinion or something, and it's basically a sentence that like claims something. It's so easy to just like, it makes sense in your head because you have all the context in the world. Basically, you've came up with the sentence, you know exactly what it means, you know why you said it like that, you know why you've used the words you've used. Basically all of that you get because you are the one that's been doing the thing. But when you when you send the message over to somebody else, when you actually post that one sentence, you're going to inevitably, well, not inevitably, but often you are going to run into problems, because the other person is going to actually need definitions for those, for all those words that you are actually using. It's like, well, but hold on, aren't we all using, I don't know, the English language, right? And there's the dictionary, right? And then if there's the dictionary, and the dictionary has the definitions of words, and we actually just use the words from the dictionary, then that solves the problem, no? Like, well, we have shared definitions, we figured it out. We have the dictionary, you know, serves exactly this purpose. And the problem is that the dictionary isn't you. The dictionary is not the same as you. And while you know, I can know what the dictionary says about what you said, but I don't know what you actually mean. And it's probably the worst. This phenomenon is the worst, where it gets worse the more agreeable the statement seems. Like the more sensible something sounds on the surface in the first place, the worse the problem of under-definition becomes. Because you just assume. It's like, oh, that's obvious. Like, surely you can, like, you just understand that, right? Because everybody understands it. Because we know what that means. Like, everybody knows what that means. But in reality, no. There's actually no guarantee that anyone actually understands what you mean. Especially how it relates to other subjects and how it connects. It's like, oh, what do you advocate for then? Do you think that everybody should autism max and then like, you know, post gigantic essays with 70 million words? It's like, no, not the idea. The point is to pay attention to that. I had a specific example I wanted to mention, and I might have been just Minecraft, because it's a very commonly known example, as in people tend to know what a Minecraft is, but and yet it produces basically, it's like an endless source of misunderstandings and just assumptions. Because Minecraft is a sandbox game, right? Video game, rather. Well, sandbox game. Minecraft is a sandbox in that it doesn't really... It defines a set of mechanics that interact with one another. And the game kind of presents you what to do with the mechanics. As in, you have, like, if you want to do anything like build or whatever, you have all these sorts of mechanics for resource collection, for making stuff happen, for building, for like moving around, etc. You have the Ender Dragon, which is kind of like something that is an objective, maybe, but if you look at it, people who are new to the game, or not even new to the game, but just play it casually, probably just ignore the Ender Dragon entirely. It's like, that's something over there, but that's not for me, I don't do that. And they still play Minecraft just fine. And then you have veterans for whom, like, they will respawn the dragon multiple times and will just, you know, use it as yet another thing to do without much really importance placed on it. So you end up with... and the actual demographic that takes the dragon the most seriously, like the as an objective, is speedrunners, because the run ends when you kill the dragon and go through the end fountain. So in a speedrun you have to take the dragon seriously. So since Minecraft doesn't have a goal, Minecraft doesn't have like an overall goal, it's a collection of mechanics. The goal is brought in by the players. And the problem with the goal being brought in by the players is that everybody brings in a different goal, because it's a tool. And the reason why that is important in conversations, so for example, Minecraft is unbalanced, because whatever, let's take the elytra as an example, which I might make a video on because it's a very interesting line of thought to go down. Minecraft is unbalanced, like the elytra is unbalanced, because it puts out of whack every other method of transportation in the game. It's like, okay, like, sure, I think I agree with that argument, it sounds sensible. However, you are presupposing, like, it's unbalanced, sure, but is that bad? It's like, well, the game should be balanced, but what does it mean for the game to be balanced? Like, for example, if you think about armor, like, armor isn't balanced because you have better and worse armor, and if you have diamond armor, you don't actually need any other bits of armor. It's like, is that also bad? It's like, well, you could have people follow through on that and say, like, yeah, that's also bad, because like everything is a straight upgrade, so you just, you know, you progress to the highest level of gear and then the progression of the game ends. And there's, for example, BTA, Better Than Adventure, is a mod that like replicates, I think, beta, like pre-sprint beta versions, and then expands on them. And that mod actually introduces different functionalities to different armor. to actually balance it. So it's like, I think they alter like your movement speed, fall damage, resistance against that damage types, because they don't have enchantments, so it's a bit different in that function. Like, what I'm then thinking is, okay, you've got... So armor is also unbalanced, right? And then tools are unbalanced, because there's no reason to use really any other tool, and if you can upgrade it, you just upgrade it. There's no choice in it. But then you take all of that, and then there's a lot more mechanics in Minecraft. You could absolutely do that. It's like, oh, in Minecraft you can just trivialize food, for example, because you make farms, right? And then those farms are figured out by the community. You can make very optimal farms with cheap materials, make them very quickly, and you end up not having to really do anything for another resource. So it's like, oh, all those other things are also unbalanced because you can just farm stuff and you end up with too much. Well, then the question becomes, it's like, okay, but what are you actually doing? What are you using Minecraft for? Because there's no end in the game to which you are optimizing, for example, resource production or like gathering stuff, etc. You are not, like, intrinsically, you don't win the game. That's why I differentiate kind of Minecraft and generally just creative, like, sandbox tools from games. Because in a game you have an objective to win the game. And so if you had, for example, resource collection, and you have, like, you can make a farm, then because the goal is to beat the game, you can in some way calculate or express when resource gathering is beneficial to the goal and when it is a waste of time. Because you get diminishing returns, for example. You get too much stuff, you can't even use it before the game actually ends. So if you keep doing that, then doing it becomes a waste of time. Because you are doing something, you could be doing something else in the same time. So then you have a reference point to actually figure that out. But in Minecraft, there's not really that. There's no reference point. It's like, why are you, like, you're upgrading your gear because you want to do stuff, but you want to do stuff not because the game told you to do stuff. Like, there's no... You could maybe say there's incentive to do in that the game... Like, not even really. It's like, there's nothing in the game mechanics, for example in Minecraft, that really makes you build stuff. People build stuff because Minecraft is virtual Lego, and they want to build stuff. And it's like, oh, I want to make a cool, cute little house. That I've designed, I have an idea, I have these materials, I'm gonna do that. And it's like, people make that because that's play, but that's play in the way you would play in a sandbox, as in like an actual real literal sandbox, a box of sand, right? You play with other kids, and it's not like you play a game with rules and objectives. And everybody knows what the game actually is. You play together, and the rules are made up, and whatever objectives like shift around depending on what whoever wants to do whatever. So with that, when you say, like, some mechanic in Minecraft is unbalanced, the question becomes, like, what... Like, how is that why is that a problem? Why is it a problem for the mechanic to be unbalanced? It's like, it gets dangerously close to the question of fun. Because the default, probably, explanation for why unbalanced is worse would be, well, that's not fun. But then fun is not exactly like, how do you quantify that in a way that makes sense to more people than just, you know, you? Because you find it fun for it to be balanced because you want, I don't know, like in the elytra argument, you've got different modes of transportation. So like you've got minecarts, you've got horses, you've got boats. I think these are the main ones. Then you have like ender pearls for moving around also, and then you build all other sorts of infrastructure, for example. Like for example, you build like staircases, you build pathways, connecting things. You might build a piston bolt, I guess, from like very technical Minecraft type of transportation. So you've got all these modes of transportation, and then the argument is that you get the elytra and then it doesn't matter anymore, because you can just fly everywhere. Just like, okay, I understand it, but then the reference point is that you prefer to not fly everywhere, you prefer to engage with all these other modes of transportation, which people that use the elytra prefer to use the elytra, right? And then you get the instant argument of, well, you, like, nobody's forcing you to use this feature. It's like, well, but I am being forced to use this feature. Like, why? Because I'm on a multiplayer server, and then there's like competition for resources, and if I don't use the most optimal option, or at least close to the optimal option, I end up behind, and then I end up, you know, that I end up not being able to do things in the game because other people are just progressing faster, getting better gear, getting more territory, whatever, like succeeding at PvP, whatever criteria you have, right? But that introduces, I mean, I guess, because I would say that that introduces a pressure into the game that isn't exactly present in the base game. It's something that comes from a specific server environment, because this is not going to happen. This is not an environment where you are playing with your friends and you are like building a world together, and that's the goal of your gameplay. You're building a cool world, you're building all this cool stuff. It's like, that's the goal, so then you are going to build the infrastructure and the cool stuff because you can. Because that's what you want to do, and that is what you bring into the game in the first place from the outside. You could say like, oh, but, well, but that doesn't matter. That it's brought in from the outside, because the game then supports... The game supports my choice to do that, in a way. So it's like, that's then a claim that is kind of positive about what the game should be. It's like, I believe the game should be this, because it supports the choice of building all of this transportation. And it's like, oh, it's not useless, because like you can't ask the question of why don't you just fly there with the elytra. It's like, well, I don't have that option because the game, like, let's say it was removed. The option was removed from the game, so I no longer have the question. It's like, I don't have the option of getting the elytra. I can just I must build like this. But then there's stuff that only something like the elytra can do. Like, I think certain, for like the classic example of the argument is like certain size of build is very difficult, if not impossible, to achieve if you don't have the flying and gliding capabilities. Because you want to get up to places, you want to look at it from different angles, you want to be able to basically go from point A to point B very fast, and you don't want to be limited by staircases or like building scaffolding with like dirt or like actual scaffolding blocks, etc. And that again, it's like... The thing is, for all of these arguments, basically, I am... Like, in sentiment, I agree with all of that. It's like, yeah, I see the point about the Elytra being overpowered and unbalanced, and I'm like, yeah, that seems true. But it's like, it's not quite... Like, I'm not connecting... some dots are not connecting for me. It's like, why... Like, what's the step? What's the step that takes this out of, you know, just preference? It's like, into perhaps objective quality, maybe? Like, why this is better? Because it's very hard for me to single this issue out also. Maybe that's just a flaw of overthinking, but it's like, if we take that into... If we take that into the broad design of Minecraft, then Minecraft isn't... Like, you would have to make a lot more changes, I think, to Minecraft for the game to be balanced, or for the game to, like, in that way where you have these, like, different options, like the mentioned armor from BTA. Like, you would need a lot more stuff. Oops, that's you need a lot more modifications, and it's like, I understand that the appeal to popularity is a fallacy, right? Just because something is popular doesn't mean it's good. But then that kind of leaves, like, define a criteria for good, right? Define, like, what do you mean? Because Minecraft is the most popular game of all time. It's like, is literally everyone that plays the game and loves it. And it's like, oh yeah, has fun in it. It's like, well, but that's precarious. But then it's like, but how is your argument about, you know, this balance? How is it, like, you're leaning on the same idea? You're leaning on fun. It's more fun to be done this way. I don't know, man. I don't quite have, like, a good line from... I feel like I'm on the cusp of actually understanding why it is like that, why this bothers me so much, and why, like, how to actually define it. Because I think if you defined the goal of Minecraft to as, like, the goal of the game is to get people to build a world, right? That's the goal. You want players to engage with the game, and the end result of that is supposed to be like a world that they've built alone or with their friends. And then the tools the game provides is to build that world, to create it. So that's why you've got, for example, different blocks, because it allows players to build, like, different structures of different kinds and colors and formats and make the world theirs, right? By doing that, you basically, you, like, define a frame of reference again, because that's what... And so if that's the case, if that's what the players are supposed to do, then that provides a reference for why the Elytra is a bad addition. Because it doesn't encourage people to build things, it encourages people to fly around and skip building infrastructure. But then, on the other hand, it's like, Doesn't it encourage people to build bigger things, for example, because you can now fly around with an elytra? It's like, can't you build other things? It's like, I would idly no. In practice, certainly. Because there's also the factor of people who build all those like mega gigantic projects, etc. are usually unemployed. Are you reading anything coming from your own intuition? I'm not reading, this is like a rambling stream I do, is basically I don't have any, like, I don't even have a plan, I don't have bullet points, I don't have anything. I was basically, I feel like talking into a microphone this evening, and I have something that bothers me in particular in my head. And so I just keep thinking about it. And then this is what my thought process kind of looks like when I try to do it live at the same time. And this is why also I make scripted videos, because a stream of consciousness like this I think would be fairly unlistenable to if I wanted to actually convey like a precise point. I'm from Poland, actually. But because I've had an obsession about hiding my accent, I guess, or developing like a quote-unquote proper accent, I've kind of gotten... I sound like this, basically. It's an overdose of YouTube, I think, also, because I've picked up how people say words from listening to an unhealthy amount of YouTube, probably. My ideas come from my own head, kind of. Like, you would... probably. It's difficult to track, because... there's definitely, it's not like I figured everything out myself, but I've not really heard people connect these things and say them in the way I do. It's very, I don't know. I'm weird like that, you could say. A lot. Like because I know you've watched at least one of my videos, the way I go about these, making those, is it starts somewhere around the process, a process like I'm doing now, where I just have a topic that bothers me a lot for whatever reason, and usually I don't know what the reason is. It's usually something, it often has to do with something that I've had or listened to a conversation in which I've seen people not define things to a degree which I find satisfactory. I think I'd describe it like that. So you've got people say something, I either agree or disagree, but it's very difficult to actually illustrate and elaborate on why exactly. And then I take that and I basically throw it into diagramming software. I've got, it's draw.io or diagrams.net. It's a tool that lets you basically make diagrams, so I basically throw all the thoughts I can separate from what I'm thinking into a diagram like that, and then I start arranging all of those rectangles and like connecting them together, removing the duplicate ones, adding ones that I come up with as I'm thinking further, blah blah blah, and at some point of that process I have like a picture of the whole idea or issue that I want to talk about, and then I start arranging that in order. Because it turns out that if you want to actually say things to other people, you kind of have to do that in order, or else they get very confused. So you gotta translate the like mess of whatever points and ideas into a sequence of thoughts. And when I get that sequence of thoughts, basically I end up writing a script, and then when I write a script, I iterate on it a lot. It's like the latest thing I did, I think, had like 8 iterations of the script, 8 passes kind of over the... It's not literally I write the entire script from scratch 8 times, but I do rework a lot and end up like going back and editing and making sure I'm not repeating myself, sometimes going back to what is it called? Not drawing board. Like go back to the diagram basically, and it's like, oh, hold on, I'm not understanding something here, etc. Do you read anything in general? How did you come across this method? I used to read a lot, but never really much in terms of serious stuff. Like, you know, stuff you would read that as a teenager, I guess. Like fantasy, science fiction, whatever. This approach to thinking and doing things comes mostly from my job, because I work in a small 2-man business in software engineering, effectively. So we go to a client, we ask them questions and listen to them and you know, figure out what it is that they actually do, and then we process that into software that is going to make the job easier. And so through that, I basically do a very similar process over there in order to actually figure out what the client does and how I can, you know, help with that. And so I've kind of adapted that to how I think about everything, and I don't know if that's a good idea. To be honest, the general conclusion I've come to about thinking in this way is that I have no idea, but it seems to be working for me so far, so... Well, I'll keep going and I'll see what happens, and if it breaks at some point, it breaks. It's fine. Gooding indeed. Because... like, I don't know, like, with all of this stuff that I've been thinking about... the thing is, I don't know how much of this is a problem and how much of it is just, this is how things are and you kind of have to accept it. It is not very easy to talk about this stuff with people, I've found, because I can't quite get to the proper level of precision. Or, well, proper. It's like proper because I think it's proper. But that's... for short, I run around in circles a lot, and then at the end of a long running around in circles session, I end up feeling like I've arrived nowhere. But then I try my best to take that as a sign that maybe if I have assembled some thoughts, if I've assembled thoughts in order, and then I read what I wrote, and I think, well, isn't this all bloody obvious? Then maybe that means I've assembled them into, at the very least, a coherent picture, right? Because... wild methanies... Methany? Do you mean meth? Have you considered there might be ways out there to be more precise? There definitely are ways to be more precise, because I'm sure that what I'm doing basically is just reinventing philosophy again, but in my own stupid way, and I could probably be better at it if I, you know, devoted any amount of time to actually studying that. Bethany plus meth. I have no idea what that means. There's definitely better ways to go about it. It's just I find thinking like this fun because I don't know why. I find thinking like this fun, and I don't really wanna get into all of the like deep into studying all of that and figuring it out. Maybe I will over time. Why not study it? It's like, yeah, it's basically time/brain concerns. I guess, like, to be honest, I probably should, because sooner or later somebody's gonna come across what I'm doing and be like, yeah, like, you're spending a lot of effort into things that are already figured out 5 times over, and here's 7 things that you haven't thought about, but you will inevitably encounter when you get to it. Maybe, or you will not, and you will just live in ignorance of them. Just like, oh, I'm getting comboed. Whoops. Undoubtedly. But I've realized I'm also fine with that, to be honest. I just don't mind it. I don't mind going through all these motions and figuring it out and saying something that, oh, this is how I think about it, this is how I've organized these thoughts, this is how I've kind of assembled like a picture of it. And if somebody else did it, and if it's out there, and if it can be done better with like better terms, it's fine, because ultimately what I'm actually doing by doing all of that is I'm arranging stuff in my own head. And I don't think there's going to be much in terms of a replacement for doing that. Because I need... Because I need my thoughts to make sense to me, and I have a very hard time doing things I don't understand or have laid out, which is certainly a flaw that I'm working on, but in the meantime, I'm trying to figure things out to the point where I find them satisfying, and I've noticed that the standard of what I find satisfying is not very... It's not often replicated in other people, let's say that. Just not really an indictment of them as wrong or whatever, it's just I'm a particular guy. A random woman showed up in a very revealing crop top. Okay, IRL information. From Europe, so it's pretty late for me. It's pretty late for me as well. It's 11:30 over here. Welcome, by the way. Watching you since the video that tackles waiting problem. Well, there's been one video since that, so I guess you've not had that much to watch. I have like a few. If I had one video I'd recommend watching, it's probably the response to Your Playtime Doesn't Matter by Lucid. I think that's probably the best thing I've done, and then it's all downhill from there. I'm kidding. Surely it's not that bad. From a U2 as well, yeah. I'm Polish, yes. I've even said that earlier in the stream. Country reveal. Except it's not really a reveal if you've done it before, is it? What if what you're looking for is out there in some of the serious stuff? Probably. Maybe. Not really. At the risk of sounding hubristic, hubristic? I don't know if that's a word that you can use in this context, but maybe you could, because there's all sorts of people that have thought all sorts of things and assembled that into all sorts of works that I could read and absorb and then have opinions about. And a lot of that, like, I don't mean to trash all of it or even any of it, but how do I say it in like any way that's different than what I already said? I'm figuring things out. That's the difference. I even if I come up with something and the conclusion is that, yeah, that guy that I learned about, he like agrees with what I've come up with, or effectively I agree with what he came up with, but I agree with it because I've done the legwork and I actually understand what I'm talking about, then I'm fine. I don't think it's like all that I've done is a waste of time because somebody else has been there before and figured these things out. I don't like need first discovery credit or whatever. I want to basically get my brain going onto things, and I want to... Because I think ultimately if you want to understand things, you need your brain to be capable of spotting and connecting patterns. And you kind of can't do that in any other way than by exercising it. But then also you can exercise it by, you know, going to whatever, like, field of study and doing it that way. So, I don't know. Hubristic is a bit, if not appropriate. Okay, I was afraid I was making words up instead. So I probably mispronounced it. That's probably the problem. Maybe. I tend to be doing that all the time. I can't stop myself. It's too much fun to mispronounce words all the time. Like, I don't know, because especially in the age of the internet, you're not going to absorb all there is to absorb about a topic. It's not gonna happen. You can't do all of it because there's effectively infinite content out there. Like, there's not infinite perspectives because a lot of them share ideas and share maybe positions and observations, but there's so much stuff you would have to familiarize yourself and so much information to actually process and to... So I feel like what I'm doing is not really absorbing informations or informations, in plural, information or thoughts, etc. I'm most interested in assembling stuff together, and if it's internally coherent, I don't really even fully care that it may not be externally coherent, because at a certain point of internal coherency, you get to connecting it to stuff that effectively makes it externally coherent as well. Because it can't be any other way. It has to work with a bunch of stuff. And then you end up either like if things are connected together well and then they reproduce things in reality, then you're probably not going to have to throw all of this system of thought out in order to replace it with something entirely different, if you've done the job of questioning every step of the way properly. That's... I kind of lost that thought, to be honest. Waiting problem video really resonated with me. Every time one complains about some drawbacks of the current system, people say go play community servers. It's like, yeah, but there's not really vanilla community servers. So you can't really do that. I'm not the first to like go like push that thought by people. I've definitely gotten that from elsewhere, because people, it's not a very difficult conclusion to come to. All you have to do is open the server browser and notice that there's not really community vanilla servers. But then the solution is, because there's already people organizing play sessions. I've been participating even in some of them to help fill them out. And it's... I still think the solution to that... Like, nobody's really organized what I've described as to be organized. It's... Because there's people organizing, but it's also tied to like other movements and pre-existing people, and I think that maybe stops it from having broader appeal. And it's also... I don't know if it's being advertised, because I'm not really that in the know. I don't even know where being in the know would be. Would it be on like Steam, Discord, Reddit, whatever? I don't know. It's pretty complicated. Humans nowadays produce more information 1 year during the whole history before internet. It's possible. Don't think it's a waste of time. Go about it yourself. You're not really on your own. Like, obviously. Like, I'm on the internet. I'm streaming right now, talking to people, and I've generally been, like, responding to comments, writing comments. I've not read stuff. I've absorbed a lot, because I've listened to a lot of commentary and people, like, analyzing things from different perspectives, so I've absorbed it through osmosis, but I can't cite the correct, like, books and philosophers and, like where the ideas come from and what the history was and how it was tested, implemented, like in different things. How, like, all of that I'm kind of lacking. Why not absorb from the people that think the best? Well, it's because who determines, like, yeah, as as the question goes, like, what do you mean by the best? People have dedicated their lives to thinking about things, but not really, because that's academics. And the question is, yeah, like, are those ideas, how do you, because you might have the best theory, but do you actually have the best practice? In that, is your idea implementable? And when you implement it, does it function and succeed, or, whoops, or do you have problems that, does it end up having problems in practice because the people that thought the best invented like the best abstract framework, but they haven't, but it doesn't actually work in practice? It's the, why not start out from a certain tradition? I mean, I have a lot of understanding and knowledge about Catholic philosophy, I guess. That would be my background. Damn, we are getting into Christian theology, I guess? Theology. Whatever. I mispronounced that the first time. Do not crucify me, Lamal. Pipeline guy organizes games. Yeah, all that, and also there's also like the bring back quick play guys themselves, like BBQ Party, that I've joined, and there's also a like vanilla fortress.tf, which is kind of like what I suggested with the let's just ping people about various community like vanilla games from whatever community, but then that's also not, I would say it's not fully clean, as in it like has a bunch of like drama and whatever references, like not like really bad things, but just like it's not just put the organized game in the bag. That's what I'm kind of, my complaint about that is, it's like I would like something that's literally just we organize games, nothing else. We don't movement, we don't hashtag, we don't poster, we don't post about the guy on YouTube we don't like. We don't even talk in the server, we just ping people for sessions. Like that's basically what I think would be nice, because then there's no problem with sharing that and recommending that to literally like whoever. Just but maybe somebody will do that. I will not do that because I don't have the time for that. I'm not organizing it myself. Sorry guys. Summa Theologia? Yeah, the Thomas Aquinas. I'm not very well versed in the English words for all of that and pronunciations, but very big jump between topics. From like Team Fortress 2 to like Christian theology. Because at a certain point, it's like, actually let's connect the two examples. Let's do that. That's gonna be funny. Let's try and connect the two. It's like, you can read a lot about theology from various sources and from very smart people who wrote a lot about it, But then at the end of the day, you are going to have to... At the end of the day, you are going to have to start actually enacting it in practice, because faith is yours, right? You have faith and you end up acting in the world. So in order to do that, you will need your own relationship with God, effectively, although like your own relationship with the faith as well, and your own understanding of it, and to the point where you can apply it in practice. So it's like, what does it mean? Because what does it mean to actually have faith, if not to act in a way that is in accordance with that? Because otherwise you don't have faith, you have knowledge of faith, right? And it's very similar with all these ideas and knowledge and connected stuff. It's like, at a certain point you need to stop. Well, you don't need to stop, but you need to not only gain more knowledge and of thinking, you need to kind of do the thinking yourself. Because you need to not just be aware that people thought like this, but like the simplest example of, I think, I can bring up, maybe not simplest, but the closest to my own experience, I guess, is like, because I see it from my job, from work. It's like by this point I've accumulated like 10,000 hours over worked on like various projects, programming, etc. It's like, I see that over that time I've gained an understanding of programming. Like, I feel like I'm a beginner, just to be clear. Like, I'm not trying to like, oh, I'm this so super smart guy and the best. It's like, no. Because through all of that, I've acquired enough experience and knowledge to know just how much I don't actually know. It's really... But then, this is a better state, because I not only, have read a lot of various tutorials and whatever, and seen ideas of how people do things, how different frameworks do things, how it's done in different languages, what are these concepts, how are they done, how you can use them, blah blah blah, various pros and cons. It's not just that, but then, like, I've actually done it. I've actually done a lot, and because I've actually done a lot, I can make projects similar to what I've already done. It's like, and I have a frame of reference, because I've done a bunch of things. I have a frame of reference for looking at new concepts, like related to programming, because I fit them like puzzle pieces into what I already understand about programming. So when I remember what my mindset and what my approach and what my understanding was when I was starting out, it's completely different, because I don't have any of that. I'm building it. I'm doing something. I'm trying to get things to work, because I don't really understand what is going on. And it's like, there's no way to go from that state where I'm just starting to the state where it's like, okay, I still have like gigantic holes in my knowledge, but I generally know what I'm doing. It's like, going from point A to point B is basically just a lot of doing. It's a lot of doing. Like, you gotta, like, there's no other way. And I am kind of transferring that to thinking, like philosophizing and whatever. Basically the same kind of concept, the same kind of idea, where like I've absorbed so much. And actually this is very similar to how I felt today, and why I've decided to like boot up a stream and talk. I was feeling like, oh, I've read like people arguing about things, I've like listened to like to videos, I've done some work. Uh-oh, that's a mistake. I've done a bunch of work, so I've ended up absorbing like a lot of information today from various sources. And so I felt like, okay, but now it's time to do it the other way, right? Now it's time for me to produce something and get some thoughts out of my head and assemble them and arrange them and talk about them maybe in a form that forces me to actually be coherent about them as well. Interested in methodology. Sorry, I'm like behind on the chat because I was trying my best to like keep that ramble together. Red Popper or Lacatus or something. I've like literally never heard of that. I probably could do that. Maybe I should do that. Read on sophistical refutations. Nice and short. Yeah. So apparently we are in a Christian Minecraft stream chat. Except there's no Minecraft. Actually, there was Minecraft, because that's what I started from. You learn the most from the best. I mean, absolutely. But then, I think it's very different. Maybe it's not different. But it's like, it's kind of going back to the, like, who is the best. And I'm not even discarding or discounting the idea, because I think I will end up reading a bunch of, about, like, philosophy, etc. I probably will. Maybe it is, you know, maybe it is on my part. I just, it's like, but reading books is boring, and it's much more interesting to just say stuff on the internet. Turns out. Maybe. It's... I get the point. I'm not the point. Wait, no, wait. I need to, like, activate the thing first. This is my favorite sequence in the game, by the way. Also, as a complete, because I mean, it's on the screen, so you can see that the game is beautiful, but the game's, I love this game so much. It, like, soothes my soul, which is why I've been, basically, whenever I want to just get stuff out of my head and ramble a little bit and figure things out, I just boot up this game and I play the beginning sections of it over and over again. Because I'm playing on, like, 1 life difficulty, which is permadeath. And then I die in, like, basically the same spots. So I end up looping over and over. Oh, this is a bounce pad. I'm stupid. Pardon. There we go. Forget first principles. Reading people who said stuff is principle 0. Now, like, come on. I don't want to be that uncharitable. The question of who's the best is a question of judgment, which is another practice you have to learn from the best to get into. Maybe. It sounds too simple, to be honest. It sounds like the only way to get good at anything is just doing it. Reading about it, listening is when the best is useful. Works more like an XP bonus. At the end of the day, you have to do something. Yeah, I mean, it's both. It's not like I have zero intellectual backing. It's just I've not really gone about it very traditionally. I've got... It's like, yeah, theoretically it is of benefit, and I'll probably end up eventually doing it. I don't know if I have anything else to say on that in that direction. The logic is circular? Well... Oh yeah, on the who is the best, and you have to learn about judging who is the best from the best, but in order to actually... for that to be coherent, you'd have to substitute it, and you have infinite recursion, and it just goes to hell immediately. Kinda, yeah. I think broadly it's like the Book of Wisdom, which I've been. The logic is circular because it's like, oh, if you want to learn about, you want to judge who is the best, but to judge who is the best, you have to learn how to judge from the best, and so it goes in circles, basically. And like in the Book of Wisdom, like Wisdom of Solomon, and there's like 2 different books of wisdom. The other one is, I don't know. One of them is like, I think, Catholic exclusive DLC for the Bible. You have to download it. But they have similar ideas because I think they speak broadly about the same thing, where if you want to seek wisdom, and this might sound pretentious / prideful, whatever, again, but if you want to seek wisdom, like, it's right there, in a way. It's not... Like, Jesus says that too, right? I praise you, God, because you've revealed all of these things to simpletons, or whatever. Like, it's a free translation from Polish, don't explode me, but it's basically like that. And, well, there are things that are complicated and complex, and you need to approach them with a lot of care, and, like, intellectual rigor. But then there's also a lot that there's a lot in experience, in doing things, seeing what happens, taking, and then like understanding what is going on and how your actions affected it, what were the causes, what were the effects, what the through line between these is, and then from that extracting like how I should adjust my behavior in these particular circumstances in this particular context. Because the best way in some context and in some situation is like, okay, they maybe have certain methods, they maybe do certain things, recommend things, but then how applicable is that to your current environment? And then are you going to find the best guy at applying it to your current environment, and are you going to listen to him? Or is it that you kind of figure out at certain points, like, no, actually I'm just gonna send it, I'm just gonna make the call. Finding the best athlete would be circular. But no, but it's not the same with athletes, because with athletes you have, the game is defined for athletes. It's fascinating that this goes back to what I've kind of started talking about when I was alone on the stream. Because with the best athlete, you predefine the game, and then you can find the best guy at that game. Because you've defined, for example, I don't know, like the 100-meter sprint, right? It's like you have the competition. It's like in lanes, you start with like short, you start from like the same position, blah blah blah, and like there's a definition of what it means to finish the race, then you measure the times, then you compare them, whoever comes first won the race. So then you can actually figure out who is the best at this game, and it is self-evident when you've defined the rules and the objective. But this is not the same in life in general, because there's too much variance. Like you can't have the objective function, sort of like you don't have. What does it mean to live a good life? And it's like, well, and the question isn't general, because it's what does it mean for your life to be good? Because your life is particular and not general, and so the answer is also going to be particular to you. So you can't, it's not going to be self-evident what the good path in your life is, surely. But besides, what's the rules for what's the best within that game? Well, No, nobody defines the rules for what's the best. That's not a rule. Like, the rule defines the competition. Like, for example, you can't kick the other guy that's running next to you. That's outside of the rules. But then every other strategy that isn't banned by the rules is basically, like, who is the best is defined only by the objective. Because you have the objective function, you can maximize the objective function. And then if you, I don't know, if you have a guy that invents like a completely brand new move and it lets him sprint faster, then you will either have the game be modified to ban that because people want to actually compete in running, or that guy is going to actually change the meta, sort of. Like, everybody's going to run the way that guy does because it improves on the objective function. So it's like, there's a new definition of what it means to be the best. You can make the same objection, the point still means something. Start out with some idea of what is good. Yeah, we start with some idea of what is good, but we don't have a... Like, you don't... Like, I have an idea of what is good, but that's my idea. As in, how do I know that my idea of what is good is good? Because, you know, I mean, I guess we are in a Christian Minecraft chat, so, like, that is where, for me, faith comes in. Exactly. It's because, like, I have certain ideas about what is good and how, whatever, like, what works and how, etc. But I don't stop there. I go to consult it. Right? Like, I pray about it, I read scripture, I consult it with precedent, you could say, etc. And that's where that goes beyond me, right? Like, at the end of the day, I'm the one evaluating all of that. In order to understand it, it has to be, like, I have to process it in my brain, it has to somehow make sense to me, and then I have to connect it to actual actions in my life, but I don't stop on what is my idea of good. Right? That's the difference. You're demanding precision in an area that doesn't really need it in practice. That story of my life. Yeah, that's probably a good diagnosis for my general condition. There are certain things that can't be measured. Doesn't mean that we can't make judgments on them when they are not real. It's not as obvious, yeah. Yep. It's most definitely. It's like with the whole objectivity versus subjectivity or whatever debacle, whatever you'd call it. It's... might be yet... Like, what do people mean by these? And I did make a whole video on that. To basically exploring the topic, but the idea is that people just use these words. I think a lot of the time they just have a vibe for what these words actually mean, and this is I'm just going back to what I said before anybody showed up to the stream, but the important question, and this is basically the same as, like, you are demanding precision in the place that doesn't need it, is the question of, like, what are you doing and why? For what purpose? To what end? For what goal? Because if you have that, then you can, like, in reference to the goal, you can evaluate, okay, this is conducive to the goal, so this is a good thing to do. Then there's a question of evaluating if your goal is good, but that's like a separate issue. You evaluate. It's like, oh, is objectivity better or is subjectivity better? Or, like, is this objective or is this subjective? It's, well, what are you trying to achieve? Because if you are just trying to achieve if you're just trying to achieve, like, words, like, oh, I want to endlessly argue about words, then you can do that all the time. It's very simple. I do it probably way too much, but the problem is that well, I'd say like that's not very satisfying. I guess that's an appeal to my own feeling on it, but you can actually redefine words in a million different ways, and it'll actually make internal sense, because you'll just redefine what vibe coding base your whole life. Wouldn't that be like if you just source your opinions from elsewhere? That's vibe coding for your entire life. Because you just, you know, you read whatever and then that's your opinion because you read it from a smart guy. So that's basically vibe coding, but instead of ChatGPT, it's like a known philosopher. That's probably offensive to like all philosophers ever. I'm sorry, Socrates, or like whoever. That's probably a horrible travesty I've just committed. I had a thought and I lost it. Yeah. Where is it? Yeah, knowledge without application is mental masturbation. It's basically the thought I just said in a lot more words and less succinctly. Because I subscribe to the idea that words and language in general is a tool, and trying to argue for like what is the inherent meaning of a word, like what's the true meaning of the word, is, I think that's pointless, because what does it matter that you find the objectively correct meaning of the word if that's not how people use it? And so every time you use the word you will have to, you know, put up a disclaimer that says like, no, but I actually mean this word differently from how everybody else uses it, because I think this is the more correct definition. I am the correct guy. I have it. I don't think that's gonna work out. To be honest, with all due respect, which I don't know if there's any due respect, but just in case there is, with all due respect. Because it's also I find it useful to connect concepts together though, because to kind of defend thinking, because I feel like that's I do a lot. I need to satisfy my ego a little bit. Okay, I think too much, so I need to cope and sieve about how thinking is actually cool, and I don't have a problem, I swear. So, what was I gonna say? I just completely derailed myself. My philosopher friend would have shut on your doorstep and then asked you, but let's think about why you're actually angry on me for doing that. It's one of my favorite philosophical arguments is that the best way to argue with a nihilist is just to kill him. I love that argument because it's so true. I've tried it, it works every time. I mean, for the record, no, I haven't. Of course, I would never. Oh yeah, I remember what I was trying to go on before. If you connect, like connecting stuff together is pretty good. Because the more you question stuff and the more you connect concepts with one another, the more kind of meaning you get out of the stuff you because meaning is like what does it mean to mean something? What's the definition of meaning? And I think that like the words have meaning when they accurately reflect reality. And so if you want to actually achieve to make your words mean something, you want to connect them together into constructs that not only it's like you don't just connect the words together so it is an internally coherent framework, but you connect the words and the concepts with things that you know to function in practice. And then as you go, you also use the kind of model you've created. You apply it to things and you try to, I don't know, predict or like figure out this is what I should do, this is how I should do it. You do all of that, and the more you do it and the more you question the assumptions and the more you test it in different scenarios, the more, like, you can't be 100% sure you didn't mess anything up or there's no exceptions, but the more you do that, the closer you are to actually the more you can be sure that what you have is robust and you can stand on it and you can make decisions and you can go forth and do things. GK Chesterton said that? There you go. I love that argument. It's excellent. He would go around with a gun and actually point it at people. Wait. This is life goals. This is philosophy. This is philosophy. That's real philosophy, not all of that like book nonsense. You just take a gun and just point it at everyone you don't like. I might be extrapolating the idea a little bit, to be honest, but I think that's within like acceptable bounds of reasoning. Connecting concepts is basically how Zettelkasten works. Is that... what is that? I'll Google it. It better not be... Slipbox. Card file consists of small items of information stored on slips of paper, linked to each other through subject headings or other metadata. That sounds like a database, but before we actually had computers. It just reminds me of like how you explain databases to somebody that doesn't know what a database is. It's basically this. Wait, we can actually go down here. It's... Because I mean... I don't know, because I don't have formal training or like vocabulary in any of that, so I'm kind of freehanding it, but... If you want to build software, if you want to build a system that properly... I'm gonna stop. Use gun. And if that don't work, use more gun. Like this blah 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 blah, I don't actually remember. I've completely... I keep trying to do two things at once and it's not working. Oh, databases. If you wanna, like, if you build software systems and you wanna actually describe things in software, because I keep saying that like if you manage to make a good coherent system that works and keeps track of things and contains information appropriately and displays it, like a computer is just about the dumbest thing you can be explaining things to that you can still explain things to. Like, because humans usually have like a certain layer of charitable interpretation, let's call it, that lets you get away with being imprecise, of being inexact. And then people also like remember things and you can just kind of tell them to do something and then they'll figure out the details as they go along, etc. I mean, I guess computers are kind of getting there now with like AI, but in terms of programming, like the computer is completely dumb and you have to explain everything to it in a way that works with all the dumbness, but then on the other hand, you also have a lot of a lot of techniques that are not very transferable to explaining things to humans, if you can believe it. Like, humans are not very good at iterating through things a lot of times, or computers are very good at remembering things. Because, like, basically, like, you can issue only so many commands and tell people to do only so many things before you need to, like, note them down, and effectively that's why you need later a computer system, because you need to somehow make sure that people know what they are supposed to do and how they are supposed to do it, so you make a computer system that is supposed to keep track of that. But to do that you need to actually understand the system and, like, what you're doing with it. And to do that, you need to describe it. And to describe it, you need to basically string a lot of concepts together. And then the bigger the thing you are explaining and the more in detail you are explaining it, the more connected stuff you have and the more precise you need to be, and the more repeating yourself becomes a problem, and then it changes over time. And if it changes over time, then you can't just explain it once, because you also need to think about how you will change the explanation as time goes on, and either things change or you understand things better, or, like, something else is needed. And I think the analogy is just completely dead in the water. It doesn't make any sense. I just want to ramble about I think I just want to ramble about programming because I like it a lot. It's like a very obviously horribly pretentious I don't do programming, I do software engineering, actually, I'll have you know. But it's true. I think the two are different. Of course, I would say that because I have a vested interest in them being different, because that gives me bragging rights. I'm cooler than all the programmers. I'm actually a software engineer, and that's so much smarter. But in reality, there's a difference between just writing code and then making systems, because writing code is a part of making systems, but it's not the least important. It's also important, but it's like, I can't explain it. People remember things, that's why you can't leave witnesses. True. That's why they had this, like, funny memory deletion gun in that one. Not gun, just like a memory deletion flashbang, I guess. Whatever. Men in Black, right? I think. There you go, a cultural reference from me. I actually remember where it is from. I'm gonna do this. Like, you've created a great explanation for a computer, but you put it in a slightly different environment, and now your explanation is dog shit. Well, depends on how it's written. Depends on a lot of things, actually. It's complex. It's complexity, ultimately. I think that's kind of basically any time I end up with these kinds of rambles and, like, connecting things together, it's yet another way to kind of grapple with and grasp and, like, fight with complexity. Because it's not just that there's a lot of things, it's also that the lot of things connect. There's lots of connections between things, and you can't reduce it. In that, if you start reducing the complexity, if you have a description that reduces complexity, it's going to be inaccurate, and if you don't understand how it's inaccurate, you are going to end up using it incorrectly. That's kind of how it is, and that's also why you connect all these concepts together and you test them in different ways and at different places, and why it's also not very easy to just, it's not enough to just read things, because the guy that wrote the thing had a certain complex understanding of the world, and, like, how it works, how it functions, and then he put that complex understanding into words. And what you actually, like, the best thing you can get out of that writing is to grasp the complex concept behind it. And then also, as a bonus, you usually also get vocabulary that describes it, and you can adopt it. And then also other people hopefully have also absorbed the idea, and so you can communicate with them and talk and etc. And it works. But because it's complexity, you can't just load it into your head. You need to, like, it needs to connect with all the other complex things that you have in your head. Unless you are one of the blessed people with like 2 IQ. And you don't have to think about any of that because you are just very fascinated by drinking water every day. Which is, I don't know, sometimes I'm jealous of people who can just do that. I get a game that is held together by a picture of a coconut. That's a meme. I don't think that's true, but it's funny. It's funny to think about it. No, but it's true. You just stack like additional layers because it's cheaper than modifying existing software. You stack layers of effectively either emulation or compatibility, and then depending on how good the design initially was, the better the less stuff you kind of have to stack. But then it has to like operate interoperate with other things. So it's a whole mess. It's not really much in terms of a conclusion to all of this rambling, but I'm happy to kind of be back with thinking. I've been very unsure about the latest video about classifying like game appeal. I've gone through it. I've kind of iterated on the model. I've decided to like discount certain things because I'm like, oh, this is described but this aspect of appeal and this aspect together, and it's different. Then I don't know how useful that is, because it's like, it's effectively, I have laid this out in my head and I know why I laid it out like this, and I know what it connects to. Like, speaking of complexity, I know what it connects to in my understanding of like what is a game and why it's important to talk about them, but then trying to actually take any of that into an actual conversation is absolutely not real. That's not gonna happen. Because people don't have it. Like, nobody else has it. Nobody else has what I have in my head. So if I want to actually efficiently communicate what I mean, I need to go through the process of making yet another like whole video or whatever that connects all these concepts together and presents all of them. But then, do people that watch that even get the idea? Or is it like, you know, I make something and then somebody watches that and gets something entirely different from it, and it's kind of just a happy accident, I guess. I heard somewhere that TF2 code was intentionally made confusing so that dev would be harder to replace. I know that there's generally an idea like that some people have, of like, oh, it'd be hard to replace, write spaghetti code, but then it's also a game that has had content stapled onto it and like changes and mechanics, etc. It launched in a not fully finished state. It's had like years, like 9 years in development of iteration on the code, and then all the additional stuff that's been stacked on top of it since launch. So it's like, it seems like very natural conditions to develop spaghetti code syndrome. I don't think anybody would have to be doing it intentionally. And then it's very hard to actually, because you do things, because there's the engine and that's a lot of code, and then there's all the game code, that's a lot of code, and then there's like whatever else you support on top of that, like added cosmetics, whatever. It's like a whole disaster if you want to actually touch the whole structure. You change one thing and then you need another thing in another place, and well, it's spaghetti code. You start pulling on one string and it all like starts moving. It's like, oh, I don't want to do that, actually. I'll keep the coconut in the proper place for the coconut. It's probably easier. You'll not be able to get 100% get your point across, saying that as a linguist and translator. Generally, it's impossible to fully understand or convey an idea. You can only try to be as effective as possible. Yeah, that's basically verbatim what I say in the Does Playtime Matter video at one point. Because I talk about the importance of, I think, what is it? Is it experience? I don't remember what context I bring that up in, but I basically go like that. It's definitely, it's like it's all trade-offs. It's trade-offs all the way down. You just you get to choose where to lose precision, not whether to lose precision. You will lose precision, undoubtedly. And then this is also why it's important to like connect these ideas together and connect them all the way down to like a practical result, or practical results multiple in different places, because then it's like, once again, like the more robust and connected the idea is, and connected to reality that other people can also like touch, experience and play with, you know, to develop their own understanding, the more likely you are to actually convey the idea to another person that is willing to, you know, do the legwork. Because your average hot take that people share, that has basically no meaning if you start digging into it. It's like, it has meaning to the people that already basically either agree or disagree, but already, like, you're not really presenting anything new. You are basically just leaning into something that is already established and understood and built. It's like, it's hard to even call that a discussion a lot of the time, because it's like you just state things, and then other people state whether they agree or they disagree and why. But it's like, you're not really building a greater, coherent, whole understanding of the situation, are you? Not really. Is the case because people have different backgrounds, connotations, and biological differences, etc. Yeah. Yeah, it's fair. This is why we should put everybody in a computer and force them under, you know, a bunch of rules that were written by the smartest guy on the planet, which is obviously me, of course, right? We've established that. I think a lot of the time people just don't realize just how much of what they understand they actually just feel. And maybe it's, you know, maybe it's good for them, because I think about things too much, and so I end up like running myself in circles effectively and being very unsure about things. And there's certainly a good case to be made that a lot of the time it's better to just send it. I've mentioned it before on stream. It's funnily enough, I've been practicing this through learning to speedrun Minecraft. See, we brought Minecraft back up again. Because if it's a game that's very decision-making heavy, because you have a new seed every time. Like, you have the same mechanics, but you have to you optimize pathfinding and like decisions you make, in what order, how you do multiple things at once, etc. And it's been pretty good actually for like over a while since I've been doing that, for generally thinking about things and ordering and like how to do things, and also that sometimes you just send it. It's better to make whatever decision and then figure out from there than to wait around and think about things and like indecisively go back and forth, because you wait a surprising amount of time by doing that. It's been an interesting experience in general. It's like something I have to get through my skull. Double-edged sword. The more details you add, the easier it is for someone smart to get your perspective, but make it harder to understand for a wider crowd. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's true, actually. With the videos I've been making, I think, like, there's basically no way. I don't think they really have all that broad appeal, because it's just too much. Like, I'd have to simplify it a lot, surely. Not just because like, I include stuff for a reason, because I'm trying to paint the whole picture, or at least a broad picture that has the nuance I feel is appropriate. But then the other question is, well, you're gonna do that, and then you're going to be relegated to, like, I don't know, triple digit views forever, and then people that the most you will get in response is people thinking it's cool. So it's like, is that really what I actually want to do, or do I want to maybe try to affect some change or push people in a concrete direction and effectively start making propaganda for whatever ends I'd like people to think towards? But that's not really what I'm interested in. I'm like, the videos are basically a byproduct of just going through the process of going from, like, the initial thoughts and the initial feeling into, like, maybe a coherent or somewhat coherent opinion that I can have and I can defend and I can explain, and maybe, like, it also connects with other things. So it's like, it has to take some kind of form, and then just turning it into words and then into a video seems fairly sensible. Because it has to have some form, because if it's all in my head, then I don't get the feedback loop of first hearing myself say words, say these things, and, like, express them, and then second, all the feedback that I can get from other people interacting with what I've created. So people first feel and then think. Your medulla is closer to the spinal cord than your prefrontal parts. So often people get super defensive whenever someone challenges their point of view, literally feel as though we've been physically attacked. Makes sense. I mean, I'm not above that, obviously. I feel like if somebody gets on my case, I feel like I'm being attacked, probably too much. Then part of it is also, it's like, but you don't have the correct understanding because you clearly don't understand it the same way as I do. Well, maybe I should have explained it better then, buddy. I don't know. It's all fairly interesting. I've just kind of started, because I've made the response video because I was just really bothered by that original video and how it just basically trashes having experience as like, oh no, it's actually, experience doesn't matter because your statement is either correct or incorrect. Like, well, that's not workable actually in practice at all. And then I've kind of continued just on other things. I don't really know where this goes over a longer time. Like, I'm happy to have you, for example, in the chat. That's a result of just, you know, going with the flow and trying and seeing what happens. That's nice. Nice to have these, like, little chats and responses and maybe comments. Because I'm generally just missing that. Maybe it's because I'm not in the places where that kind of stuff takes place, but then I don't even know where I'd go. Because I don't really want to go to a place where everybody's like super deep philosophical and whatever and like throws references out to whatever. Because I would have to do my homework and I'm really lazy and I don't want to do that. That's not true. That's not the kind of thinking I'm interested in, I guess. I don't know. It's a mess. One of the hardest hardest things to answer. It's like, what do I want? I have no idea, man. I can spend like half an hour in front of a shelf of like different drinks in a supermarket, and I'm like, I have no idea which one of these I want to drink. And the worst part, like, I might end up literally walking out empty-handed because I figured actually maybe I just don't want any of them anymore. It's like, that's half an hour that's wasted. You should just like take the Coca-Cola or whatever and just get out, move. Yeah, if you want to find the truth with other people who are genuinely interested in the topic, it's like, yeah, it basically just have to filter people on the entrance, like on the entrance, on the like, just like don't bother, like exit if somebody doesn't seem like engaging in good faith or understanding, is just like saying stuff and doesn't seem to understand it, you probably should just go talk to someone else. That's probably offensive. I don't really mind. I'm fine with being offensive like this. It's it seems to be true that you just, if you want, like, people who are actually interested in talking just somewhere around this level, or like in practice and following up on these thoughts, they are probably going to make that known to you sooner or later, and it's going to be fairly obvious. You don't have to spend like 10 years looking for signs that maybe this guy is the right guy to talk about something with. Some people have a little more control over the primal instincts than others. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't envy people who have it stronger than I do, because it's a lot more work to do certain things. You just have to... You have to put more effort into just working with your own body. Can I contact you on Discord? Absolutely. Hit me up. It's like at Toad. It's in the description of the latest video, I think, also, if you want to copy and paste the 5 letters. Yeah, I think I've been just standing here for, I don't know, however much time. I'm gonna be like ending the stream basically soon. It's because I'm falling asleep and I gotta work tomorrow as well and be somewhat conscious. It's cognitive labor, so being conscious is kind of required. Unlike forklift operators, which are not required to be conscious, fun fact, you can be asleep at the wheel of a forklift, nobody's gonna know. And even if they knew, they would allow it, because you are forklift certified and nobody cares. What am I saying? Incoherent nonsense. Just make sure to at least sometimes talk to someone who doesn't agree with you. Yeah. I mean, definitely, but then it's like, it's not that filter for people that agree with you, it's filter for people who are actually going to talk about it, because you are probably going to find a lot of disagreement when you get to people who like think about these things. You're probably going to find disagreement anyway, but it's going to be like disagreement that's a lot more productive than someone saying like, that doesn't seem right. It's like, okay. It's like, sorry, I get it. Maybe it doesn't seem right, but like I need to figure something out with regards to this. That doesn't quite cut it. Alright. Make content, have no much of that. Gotta write my thesis. Oh, good luck. Good luck. You should use exclusively ChatGPT and Grok to write it, of course, as everybody does, because it's very important so that... It's very important. I will not explain why. You can ask Grok. Grok will explain to you why it's important to use him for the thesis. No, I'm saying just absolutely incoherent nonsense. It's time to end the stream. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for showing up. This has been very fun. I'm glad to be back and have some people in chat. It's nice. And also it's nice to get some thoughts out instead of just absorbing them, because I think I've been doing a little bit too much of the latter. Yeah, filtering out people who are not interested in a genuine argument, or people who don't even understand what it means to be interested in a genuine argument, because... Alright, I'm not starting that topic back up again. Alright. Thank you very much, have a good one indeed, and goodbye. See ya.